Hey guys, good morning. I'm back with our YouTube videos here in our YouTube channel, of course. And for those who don't know me, I am Lawrence Lau. I'm a registered nurse here in Newfoundland and Labrador, specifically here in St. John's, Newfoundland. So I work as a long-term care nurse for 1 year and 8 months. I think it's almost 2 years already, if I'm not mistaken. So for today's video, a lot of people are requesting me to make a video or explain how to process the license here in Newfoundland and Labrador. As you guys all know, different provinces here in Canada, they have different like RN regulatory board or registered nurse regulatory board. I repeat, here in Canada, different provinces have their own regulatory board for registered nurses. So here in Canada, you can't be, like for example, you are a RN or a registered nurse in Ontario. You cannot work in British Columbia without getting your license also on that province. Okay, so I repeat, you need to have a license on each provinces of Canada if you want to work to different provinces in Canada. But on this video, I will only explain the process of obtaining a registered nurse license here in Newfoundland and Labrador, which I'm currently working. Okay, so first of all, who can apply as an international educated nurse here in Newfoundland and Labrador? Well, on their website, if you will go to the College of Registered Nurses of Newfoundland and Labrador and click the international nurses, all the things that I am saying is in there. Okay, you can read back that post or that information in the College of Registered Nurses of Newfoundland and Labrador in their website under the international nurses. Who can apply as an international educated nurses? If you completed your nursing educated program outside Canada, you can apply. Next is if you were registered as a registered nurse outside Canada, you can apply. So those people who graduated registered nurse or a nursing bachelor's education outside Canada without license outside Canada, you can apply as an international educated nurses here in Newfoundland. Okay, I've heard a lot of things that it's easy to obtain a license here in Newfoundland and Labrador. I don't know how is the process on other provinces, but I'm only trying to inform you guys what I know here in Newfoundland and Labrador. So who are those people who cannot obtain or who cannot apply their license here in Newfoundland and Labrador? If you are not educated as a registered nurses, or you didn't finish a nurse education or a bachelor's of nursing in your country, you cannot apply. If you graduated as a practical nurse, as a midwife, or a psychiatric nurse, you are not eligible to apply as an educated international educated nurses here in Newfoundland and Labrador. You can read that on their website. Okay, so we're done with who are the eligible and who are not eligible. Next thing that I want you to understand is the different streamlined pathways of obtaining obtaining your license here in Newfoundland and Labrador. There's a streamline called provisional registration, obtaining an interim license, supervised practice experience partnership program, or what we call SPEP, an interim license with restrictions. So first, let's talk what is provisional registration. Okay, provisional registration, this is the first, when you apply here in Newfoundland and Labrador, you need to make a Alinity account. That's the website or the account wherein you can input all your informations and your educational credentials or your NNAS and all the things that a Newfoundland and Labrador or the College of Registered Nurses of Newfoundland and Labrador is asking, so they can review your account or your information if you are eligible to get a license. So here in provisional registration, it means that an individual who applied or who submitted an application for provisional registration of college met all the requirements for registrations with the exemption of successful completion of the registered nurse examination or a receipt of a satisfactory professional reference. So I'm just reading it on the website. So it means you didn't have a examination yet. Because the trends now in obtaining license here in Canada as a whole, they are taking their NCLEX US, because it's easy to get an eligibility or authorization to take an exam in US rather than Canada. And then once they pass that examination, they will they will transfer that US NCLEX pass examination here in Canada. So here in provisional registration, you didn't took the exam yet. You didn't took the NCLEX examination. It's either US or Canada. So once you've submitted your application and the College of Registered Nurses of Newfoundland and Labrador thinks that you've met all the requirements that they are asking you, they will give you a provisional license or provisional registration license. But this license will not allow you to work. This is just a provisional registration. That means that you met all the requirements and you have 3 years. They will give you 3 years for you to complete your NCLEX examination. So here, they will give you a eligibility to take NCLEX Canada. Last time when I took my NCLEX Canada, I asked the Pearson, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Pearson, I think. Because I have a eligibility of NCLEX US before and eligibility of NCLEX Canada. So it's up to me if I'm going to take NCLEX US or NCLEX Canada. But they said that there's no difference in the NCLEX Canada and NCLEX US. They said that if you pass already your NCLEX US, you can use that to port in your NCLEX Canada or in your registration here in Canada. And if you already pass NCLEX Canada, you can transfer that if you want to work in the US. So there's no difference. So here in provisional registration, they will give you 3 years to complete your NCLEX examination. So they will give you eligibility to take NCLEX Canada. But here in provisional registration, if you didn't take or if you didn't took your NCLEX Canada within that 3 years, you're not eligible anymore to take a license here in Newfoundland and Labrador. But 3 years is not bad. Okay? So 3 years, you can take examinations within that 3 years. you have enough time to prepare for you to take your NCLEX. Okay? Here in provisional registration, this is your first step. If the province of Newfoundland and Labrador think, or if they granted you provisional registration, they might also granted you with interim license. Okay, let's talk now with interim license. What is interim license? Interim license may be issued to international educated nurses who have been granted provisional registration. Remember the first one that I explained. You may be eligible for interim registrations with or without conditions or restrictions. There's two types of interim license, with restrictions, without restrictions. For interim license, aside from paying your application on the first one, on getting the provisional registration, you will, because I repeat, you need to make a Linity account wherein you will put all your information there, all your requirements, and it's up to College of Registered Nurses if they think that you met all the requirements. But on that process alone, you're already paying for their processing fee. Here, once you granted provisional registration and they feel like you can get, or you can be granted with interim license, there's another application fee, which is $156.40 or Canadian dollars plus 78 Canadian dollars for the liability protection. Okay? In this interim license, you can work already as a registered nurse. No, that's wrong. You can work already as a nurse with the same job as a registered nurse, but without license. You are holding an interim license. Okay? For interim license, once they issued you an interim license, you have 4 months. You can work as a nurse, same description, same job description with a registered nurse. It's just that you don't have the permanent license, but you have interim license. You are already they are already paying you with a salary of a registered nurse. But within 4 months, the first 4 months, you need to pass your NCLEX. It's either US or Canada. NCLEX, you need to pass the NCLEX within that 4 months for interim license. For example, you did not pass the NCLEX on that 4 months. They will give you another 6 months of interim. Sorry. They're going to give you another 6 months for you to take your NCLEX, and you can still work on that 6 months. Okay? But you need to take the exam on that timeline. Once, this is that I am not sure. What if you will not pass the first NCLEX on that first 4 months? And then you didn't pass also your next NCLEX on that 6 months. I think, if I'm not mistaken, the College of Registered Nurses will ask you to do something like, I don't know if they will give you another chance, but within a month only, like for example, 4 months, 6 months, plus another month for you to take NCLEX for the third time. If I'm not mistaken. Or not, they are giving you like a refresher course, if I'm not mistaken. But it's not bad already, because you have like 10 months. You are already working as a nurse, same description with a registered nurse, and you're already they are already paying you as a registered nurse but with just an interim license, so it's not bad. So you can obtain that interim license. But in the trend here in Newfoundland and Labrador, is specifically in St. John's, because St. John's is the like the center or the center city of Newfoundland and Labrador, if I'm not mistaken, wherein this is their like I don't know how to explain, like their capital city here in Newfoundland and Labrador. So here in St. John's, there's a lot of lineup of registered nurses already. International educated nurses, their own product here in Newfoundland. There's a large lineup, or there's a lot of lineup. They are still waiting for job positions, because within St. John's and nearby city of St. John's, there's no positions anymore for registered nurses. I have a lot of friends, I have a lot of people that I know here, same as me, as international educated nurses, that they've been waiting for more than half a year now just for the position. But if you want to start on the far cities here in St. John's, they have a position. But the problem is they already settled in this city for how many months already, or maybe it's already a year. That's their one reason why they're not accepting the positions from the far cities here in Newfoundland and Labrador. Okay? So the next type of interim license, remember I told you a while ago there's two types of interim license. The one with restriction and the one without restriction. So a while ago I was talking about the one without restriction. So you can work anywhere or any part of nursing nursing pathways here in Newfoundland. You can work long-term care, you can work acute care, you can work to special areas, you can work to community, and so on and so forth. But this one that I'm going to tell you is the one with interim license with restrictions. So interim license with restrictions may be issued to all international educated nurses who met all other registration requirements but missing specific content areas from their nursing education program. And these are pediatrics, maternity, or mental health, or etc. If they feel like you met all the requirements, but there is missing education program or nursing education program on your part, they will still give you interim license so you can work, but they will give you restrictions. Like for example, they will grant you, no, this is not an example, this is really true. They will grant you 6 months, and it might be extended, but they will only allow you, to gain employment and practice in a restricted employee setting while you are completing the missing courses that they feel like you are missing on your application. For example, this is just an example. You pass all your requirements, they granted you interim but with restriction because they feel like you're missing a course in pediatrics. They will give you interim license, but you can't work in a pediatric unit. Okay, so that's the interim restrictions. Okay? Next that I want to talk about is the Supervised Practice Experience Partnership, or what we call SPEP. I met already few people who undergo Supervised Practice Experience Partnership. This is good for those individuals or international educated nurses who doesn't have a recent work experience, or if not just who doesn't have, who were in their hours of recent work experience is not enough. Okay, the SPEP, or what we call the Supervised Experience Partnership Program, or what we call SPEP, is a regulatory program that is employment focused and available to eligible IENs who reside in Newfoundland and Labrador, have met their educational requirements but do not meet currency of practice requirements. This is what I'm telling a while ago. The college will notify individuals if they are eligible to take the exam, or the SPEP, I should say. So Newfoundland and Labrador, they need a currency or very recent practice requirements of 450 hours. If you lack of 450 hours but you met their educational part, they can give you the SPEP conditions, or the Supervised Practice Experience Partnership Program. Okay, here you are under supervise of a one nurse or a registered nurse in a specific work area. Like for example, in a long-term care, you will be supervised with a registered nurse, wherein you are like under orientation. But the good thing here is they are already paying you with a registered nurse payment. So not bad. Like an interim license. They are paying you. You have the same job descriptions. You have you can work in different areas of nursing, except for those with interim license with restrictions. Okay, don't be confused on that one. So they are paid as a registered nurse. They are already receiving wage as a registered nurse. Same with interim license and SPEP. Okay. So for those individuals who undergo SPEP after they finish the 450 hours, or after they're completing the 450 hours, it's up to the facility that they are currently having their supervised practice, if they are going to absorb them and give them a job position. So this is the tricky part on the SPEP, because after you completed all the requirements, as what I said, it's up to the facility if they're going to if they're going to absorb you in their facility and give you job position. But the problem here now in St. John's in Newfoundland, as what I've said earlier, there's no job position within the city for registered nurses. Because after you completing all the requirements, they will give you now the interim license so you can work. But if you already passed your US NCLEX, they will give you already your permanent license. Okay? So yeah, that's the tricky part of SPEP. So it's hard because after you completing the hours, and for example, there's no job positions really on the city or in the facility that you want to work on, you don't have a status or you don't have a work after. So you really need to find a facility that will accept you, because that's the current trend here. It's really hard actually. So that's the different pathways or streamline that you can obtain here in Newfoundland and Labrador as a registered nurse. And of course, the big license of all is the permanent license here in Newfoundland and Labrador. So it means you've met all the educations, you've met all the currency of work requirements or the hours of work of requirements, you pass the NCLEX, it's either US or Canada, they will give you a permanent license that you will use to work as a registered nurse here in Newfoundland and Labrador. So that's the simplest explanation of the streamlines here in to get a license here in Newfoundland and Labrador. So now let's talk what are the requirements for you to submit to apply for a license, whatever streamlines of pathways to get a license here in Newfoundland and Labrador. First is you need a 2 government-issued identifications. Okay? It's either birth certificate, passport, driver's license, your permanent resident card, your citizenship card, and your immigration, or your COPR, your immigration card. If there's a change in your name, like for example, especially for girls or women who are married and they change their last name, just submit your marriage certificate. Next requirements is a criminal record check that's supposed to be not its latest and not more than 6 months, and they are encouraging everyone to use their online CRC service provider, which is the CSI screening, and just go through with that application. It's not very expensive. It's really cheap, but yeah, they need that one. So, and next is the verification of registration. This document will be required from the jurisdiction where you originally registered and from each jurisdiction where you are currently registered. For example, I'm from Philippines. I was a registered nurse in the Philippines. So I'm gonna get a registration on the Philippines to verify that I am a registered nurse there. And another example, you are a registered nurse in the Philippines and you are also a registered nurse in Saudi Arabia. So you need a jurisdiction verification from Saudi Arabia and Philippines. So for all those countries that you are registered as a nurse, they need a verification for that one. Okay, next is your educational credential assessment, or what is it? So next is your educational credential assessment. So for the educational part of the application, you can submit your educational credential assessment under WES or your World Education Service, or from Comparative Education Service, University of Toronto School of Continuing Studies, or your International Credential Assessment Service of Canada, or your ICAS, or from International Qualifications Assessment Service, or yung ICAS na IQAS, or from the NNAS, or what we call the National Nursing Assessment Services, or from the CGFNS International. So there's a lot of ways you can obtain or for you to get your educational assessment. Okay, so the old trend is the NNAS, which is it's not cheap, it's a little bit expensive, and there's a lot of a lot of requirements to submit on that area. So they made a very easy one, which is your WES or your World Education Services, your ICAS and ECAS. So it's very easy now. So you just need to apply on those educational credential services so they can assess your education on the country where you finish your education. So, and those are the major requirements that they need. But they can ask you also for additional documents like English proficiency or English language proficiency. But if you if they feel like you need to take a IELTS exam, they will ask you for IELTS exam. But if the medium of teaching in where you graduated as a Bachelor of Nursing and it's an English medium, usually they will not ask you for IELTS. You just need to prepare, or you just need to request for medium of teaching in the country where you graduated your nursing. So like mine, in the college where I graduated as a nurse, our medium of teaching is English. So I just requested for that certificate just in case they will ask me, but they didn't ask me. And of course, an NCLEX RN exam. If you already passed your NCLEX US, you just need to ask them to port it on Newfoundland and Labrador. Okay? You also need nursing employment history. So you need to get employment informations on all the employers you had in the last 5 years. Okay? You need to also declare there if you were suspended, terminated, and give a brief explanation. Okay? So you also need a practice hours or currency of practice, wherein you need to declare the number of hours you practice as an RN during the previous 5 years. Okay, so because they will that's the part wherein they will assess if you need to complete a 450 hours, or that's fine already, and they will just give you the provisional license, interim license, and the permanent license. It's either of those. Okay, and the next step is that once all the requirements or informations has been received and approved by the college, the applicant will be provided with a decision within 5 to 7 business days only. Boys, based on a review of your nursing education program and currency of practice, there are a variety of pathways for registration. If you met the educational requirements and you have currency of practice, you will be eligible to take the interim license. But if you already passed an NCLEX and you met the education and the currency of practice, they will give you a permanent license. So, and if you met the education, you didn't pass the NCLEX yet, but you didn't meet the currency of, or you didn't met the currency of hours, they will give you SPEP. But for example, another example, if you met the educations, you already passed the US NCLEX and you port it in Canada, but you don't have enough currency of hours, they will give you SPEP, and after finishing the SPEP, they will give you a permanent license. So, if you did not met the educational requirements, if everyone will ask me, what if the problem is if you didn't met the educational requirements? There are still options available for Newfoundland and Labrador, so you can gain your license. First, they have options of the competency-based assessment, wherein you need or they are requiring you to complete a NCAS, or the Nursing Community Assessment Service. And it depends on the outcome of the NCAS. They will determine whether you are required to complete bridging education to address competency gaps, or they will give you a interim license with condition or with restrictions, the one I'm telling a while ago, to participate in SPEP. And you may have also the option to complete the NL, employer specific orientation, to address the gaps identified during your NCAS assessment, depending on the competency gap analysis. The next one, you also have options of if there's a missing specific content areas. This one I'm telling you a while ago that they will give you interim license with restrictions, but they need you to complete the missing educational course. Like for example, you are missing pediatrics courses, so they are going to require you to finish a pediatric courses. And or next is IEN, bridging or re-entry program, wherein they will really ask you to complete the bridging program, or you need to go back to study. Okay, so those are the informations on how to obtain license here in Newfoundland and Labrador. So if you have more questions, just comment down below, message me on my messenger. I'll try my best to answer you. I try to answer you the best that I know, and give you tips on if you have questions in mind. So once again, I am Love Rens, and don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. And yes, I hope I see you guys soon here in Newfoundland and Labrador. Bye!